Passive players are cooked, finally, but you might be too. Battle version 2.7, a new battle update that's going to affect PvP heavily and most probably PvE as well. We will just focus on PvP in this video because I'm not too sure about PvE, but there's going to be some changes which we need to address in this video, and I'll be giving you pros and cons, but please consider that the basis will be under some assumptions which I will emphasize in this video. Let's get into this. So here we are, the news details, battle version 2.7. All the information is here. They got Rose and VB. Thank you for your continued support of Dragon Ball Legends. With the app version update scheduled for, we will officially implement the battle rules from Legends Battle Royale Battle Balance pre-release as battle version 2.7. With the app version update on, we have officially implemented the battle rules from Legends Battle Royale Battle Balance pre-release as battle version. I don't know why I said it twice, but in a slightly different way, but I think it's just said twice. Anyways, overall adjustment goal, this is the main thing that we just want to see. So here they have the changes, but let's just read from here. Overall adjustment goal, this battle version aims to adjust the currently favored passive maneuvers to achieve a greater balance between active and passive playstyles. While strategies involving waiting and evaded will be preserved, adding a slight element of risk will incentivize more aggressive options. Changes and their purpose. So this is the first change they're adding. A slight amount of ki and vanish gauge will be consumed when moving backwards. This applies regardless of enemy's range. Makes this low risk alternative more in line with boosting backwards, which has a recovery period, and here increases options while preventing passive tactics such as retreating and switching characters from getting stronger. Does not affect swiping to boost backwards, but doing so may still fulfill the condition based on input speed. And then here's the second thing. Evading a blast art at long range with perfect vanish will come with a small vulnerability window. Helps prevent stalemates at long range. Adds options other than waiting for attack during long range combat. Perfect vanish effects will not play when this occurs. This change does not affect combat at close or mid range or when evading any attack other than a blast art. Then here they're pretty much just saying thank you. So the Legends team is working hard to ensure that all players can have a more enjoyable experience with more varied tactics and playstyles. Thank you for understanding and cooperation. While not true for all special rules, so they're referencing the Battle Royale here, the special rules used in Legends Battle Royale may be used to test adjustments for future battle version updates. Stay on the lookout for more Legends Battle Royale news. We hope you continue to enjoy Dragon Ball Legends. Dragon Ball Legends management team. That's the whole newsletter. Now I'm going to talk about it freely, then I'll get into some pros and cons. Alright, so here we go. I wanted to talk about the overall adjustment, and it shows that they're quite aware about the active and passive playstyles. For the past 4 or 5 years, I've posted a bunch of PvP guides, and I've leaned away from posting PvP guides, not because they wouldn't help people, but more so because the game hasn't changed much. So all my videos are pretty much still in date. Nothing really changed. I've posted previous videos about active and passive playstyles and which one's better. I always advise to play a mix of both because you never know what type of enemy you're going to come up against, and you'll need to change in the moment. If you play consistently, if the enemy can change their playstyle, they will always come out on top. Shout out Isagi Yoichi. Anyways, as you can see, they're aware of all of that, and with these, there are pros and cons about it, but overall, I think mostly it's good. It's good. You won't be getting PV'd into an explosive green, PV'd into a combo you can't escape. The last play of the game, the last play wins. It's not going to be one off a PV if it's long range. Mid range, sure. If you're attacking someone mid range and they PV you deserve that, because the window is so small that in most cases, if you just time it between them spamming sidesteps, you can't get PV'd. So if you get PV'd at mid range, that's on you. But long range, those guys that be floating back, they just be back here, you know, praying they just get a PV so they can start their combo. Those scumbags, they're done. They're done. So you'll be able to maneuver around that because PVs won't happen at long range. It's only for blast arts as well. So if you're using the strike arts here, that's also your fault. Long range strike, you need to be more careful with that. But blast arts, come on, bruh. You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. Anyways, Overall, I think that's good. There are cons for it, but I think in general, this is a better update than people see. People will have to adjust. It's going to change a lot in the game. With these minor changes, it's going to change a lot. But I want to know what they go through with assessing. So they talk about Legends Battle Royale, and I played that Battle Royale. The Battle Royale where at the minute you float back, it's annoying. It's kind of annoying to a degree. Because I play like that a lot. From close range to mid range, I float back a lot. But from mid range to long range, I don't really float back. The minute I even just lean back, my key goes down. My vanish goes down. It's like, bro, I can't even move. And in some cases, you need to do that. And the hard dash back is pretty inconvenient, you know. But let me just get into addressing wholly what I think are the pros and what are the cons. But I just wanted to talk freely, get my mind out. You know, I have some things that I might not say in the pros and cons that I just said right now. So yeah, let's get into this. So I wanted to start with the pros. The pros of this update. So all the good things that have come out of this update. Because I do feel like there is good that has come out of this update. So like they stated here, they're trying to basically take out the value in being passive so you can push aggressive gameplay, because people are meant to be fighting. We're meant to be fighting. We're not meant to be hiding. I almost bit my tongue. God damn. Anyways, here it talks about the vanishing from long range. So if the blast darts comes at your way, you can't PV them. And if you send the blast darts, they can't PV you. So pushing attacks is more valued now. Because in that space that you send the blast darts, they can still switch out and vanish, or they'll be able to move away from you. Now, there is backfloating penalized, but you can still backfloat into a character switch. So there's still value in doing that. It's just that you can't backfloat and immediately vanish, you know. For characters that might get vanished back in some way, shape, or form, you will be restricted to some degree. So that is going to change things for those guys that are passive overall, which is good. Aggressive playstyles being pushed is always good. Now, a slight amount of key, I don't feel like that's necessary, but of course it's just to push the punishment of being passive, which is overall good, you know. The vanishing gauge part is good because people can't do all that passive stuff straight up, but overall, you know, as long as people are aggressive and actually playing the game, games won't be going to time counters more often, things will feel more fun, and overall there'll be engagement, and that's what we're looking for. So I think that's a big plus nonetheless. We gotta take that. Helps prevent stalemates at long range. Well, I think this is good overall, but I'm gonna be real here. If people want to just stand there, they can. But now there's less incentive to just stand there because you can throw out a blast dart and there's no penalty for it. Somebody's gonna have to engage eventually, and I think that's interesting to note. So I think that's also mostly good, helping out the overall gameplay, the overall atmosphere of feeling like, oh, an attack could come my way at any moment and I won't be able to just PV them and get out of the situation, you know. So that's really, really good. Anybody that runs away from you will get penalized. And it says here, increasing options while preventing passive tactics such as retreating and switching characters and getting stronger. Overall, guys that just run away from you to switch, you know, they're not going to be in the nicest position anymore. So that's mostly the good. I think those are big changes. Even though I didn't read a lot, they're very big changes. Very big changes. People are going to have to adjust to this. Even when I played the Battle Royale, I wasn't completely used to it. So it's going to take maybe a week or two of people playing this consistently and understanding that, alright, cool, I need to get a feel of this before I accept it 100%. I'm hoping that they will somewhat adjust it going further. So they announced this as 2.7. They might even drop a 2.8 by the time we get to the anniversary. But generally, good stuff. Good stuff. Now let's address the bad. There might be as much bad as good depending on your perspective on the matter. So one thing that I really want to point out based on my playstyle, right? So I'm quite adaptive. I change based on how my enemy's playing. I don't play a fixed way, but I don't play defensive or passive at any point. I always aggress, but I will aggress in a way where I adjust to them. So some people might just be more aggressive than me. That doesn't make me passive. That makes them just more aggressive than me. I'm still aggressive, but they just beating me on that. So I got to kind of adjust to that. You know, it's very risky to play aggressive in most cases, but now that it's being nerfed, you know, the passive play is being nerfed, it's less risky to play aggressive, which is good. But this bit here, so this applies regardless of enemy range. This is regarding you backfloating. Backfloating is good in some cases. We already see the value of explosive greens. And with the new instant transmission Goku, he is literally the bane of existence when it comes to explosive greens. PV into explosive green, they're taking out the PV factor if it's a blast from long range. If it's mid range, that's on you. But from long range, PV into explosive green is literally a nasty playstyle. It's a rat playstyle. Even thinking about Corrupted Zamasu, who dropped in the 3rd anniversary, you know, he got a Zenkai last year. That guy is a rat in himself. Anybody with explosive green is a rat. So from that point, you know, back floating can save you. Imagine you're mid-range and you're in a sidestep war. Instead of engaging in a sidestep war, what I would normally do is float back to mid-range or float back to long range before they hit the explosive green, because you can only dodge an explosive green from long range. If you're mid-range, you're doomed. If you vanish, you're doomed. So you need to get to long range. There are benefits to being long range, and with the explosive green in existence, it's really gonna set you back. Especially with all these characters that have them. The stock for them goes up tenfold. Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, Corrupted Zamasu, the instant transmission Goku. These guys are going to eat. And I don't think that's necessarily a good thing. Especially if we look at Daima itself. Hey boy. Hey boy, Goma go eat if that guy drops. Legend Limited Goma with the explosive green, you know he's going to do numbers. He's going to do numbers on people. So overall, I feel like you could take this as a pro as well, but I think it's mostly a con, because I float back to avoid explosive greens all the time and it's worthwhile. Now, they did not say it affects boosting backwards, so if you hard dash back, you know, you just swipe back, that isn't affected. And I feel like that's annoying still, because that only benefits you if you're already at mid-range. So I need to float back, I'm still going to lose my vanish, I'm still going to lose ki, but then I want to get to long range to avoid the explosive green. So if I just hard dash back from close range, it only takes me to mid range. That's a problem. I need to go to long range. But then that slight difference, I want to have the option of doing. So I feel like this is where this becomes bad, because if it was close to mid range that isn't applied, I'll be like, cool, that's perfect. But the fact that it's applying from all distances, I think that's where the problem lies with this, and I think that's going to make things a lot worse of a game to play. It's going to make the game unplayable to a degree. Everybody with explosive greens will basically become the meta, and it doesn't matter what else you apply, because as long as you can get the combo started, which people with explosive greens will have more incentive to do, they can be aggressive and explosive green. Yeah, it's quite tough. It's quite a tough situation. Now, I'll add to that and just say, even though Vanishing Gauge can disappear, you can still make those plays. So if somebody has explosive green, you can float back and then you can go to long range. But with that float back, I get less time or less leeway to get a secure position. So I have to float back. If they don't explosive green, I'm stuck. If they do explosive green, it'll be as I play normally. Some of you guys can't picture what I'm saying, but for the guys that do play consistently will know what I'm saying. Especially when you're trying to dodge those green cards, man, those pesky green cards. Anyways, I think that's the biggest problem with this. I don't feel like there's any other problems. Like here it says, does not affect close or mid-range, you know, so you're fine. Overall, it's really just how the meta will change based on who's valuable. If you can do that, it's tough. It's tough. And another con in general, I don't like how, well, it's not a con of the playstyle of the update, but I don't like how they didn't really tell us how they assessed what was going on, you know. So the special rules in Legends Battle Royale, I played that Battle Royale, and I black float a lot from close to mid range. I couldn't do that, and I adjusted pretty quickly. I think I won 18 out of 20 of my games or something like that, even while having to adjust my whole playstyle. So I was able to change, but it really felt like more of an inconvenience than a pro, and not many players do it anyways. So I think now it might be added to value, because people will adjust to a way where, all right, cool, they're expecting you to not float back. So when I float back now, that could help me out. So it's really a perspective thing, I don't know. But I think more time is going to be a con. That's all I've got to say for this video. Hopefully I've got my thoughts out clearly. I do see both sides of the argument, but I think in general for most players, this is going to benefit a lot of people. I don't feel like a majority of the player base utilize the floating backwards anyways, but the higher top of the crop players do. They use everything at their disposal, so this is going to nerf a lot of serious players. But it will change the whole PvP atmosphere. I might make the game a slightly bit more RNG based, you could should say. I think for most people though, this is a good update. For those guys that play passive and defensive, you guys will be going down the hardest and you'll have to adjust the hardest. But for guys like me in the middle, I can see both sides. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you haven't already, make sure to press the subscribe button on this grind to 200,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys for watching, man. My name is Zakashi, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man.